Its main function is digestion. Okay? So when we say digestion, it's actually the breakdown of food or complex molecules into their simplest forms. If you can still recall the building blocks, right? So if you have proteins, the building blocks are amino acids. If you have polysaccharides, the building blocks are monosaccharides. If you have fats, building blocks are fatty acids and glycerol. And if you have nucleic acids, the building blocks are the nucleotides. So these macromolecules, they would have to be broken down by our the digestive system is very important in helping us nourish ourselves. Okay. Now, in terms of types of digestion as to location, we have two. So first is intracellular. So from the term, so digestion happens within the cell. Okay, so if you see here an amoeba, so this sorry, a paramecium, no? So this is an example of a ciliate. So inside, you're able to see intracellular, hence the term. Okay. Now for the other type, you have extracellular digestion. Of course, from the term, digestion happens outside of the cell, like in higher forms of animals or in higher forms of organisms. Now, as to mechanism, there are two types of digestion. You have physical or mechanical and chemical. So when you say physical or mechanical digestion, okay, there is a change in the physical structure, no? So this type of digestion includes processes that change the physical structure, okay, of the food particles or the foodstuff, but not their molecular structure. Okay? And when we say chemical digestion, this is the breakdown of food, okay? And there is a change already in the molecular composition or molecular structure of those food or those macromolecules. And of course, chemical digestion is aided by our enzymes, okay? So if we're going to give an example, if I chew rice, okay, so rice is carbohydrates. So after physical digestion, no, an example of physical digestion is chewing or mastication. Okay, so after chewing or mastication, rice would still be rice. Okay, carbohydrates will still be carbohydrates. Pinaliit lang kasi nginuya lang siya. So there is just a change in the physical state or in the size. Okay, but there is no change in the molecular structure. But when we say chemical digestion, so after adding saliva with salivary amylase, so carbohydrates are now converted to pwedeng disaccharides or trisaccharides. So there is already a change in the molecular structure. So that's the difference between the physical and chemical digestion. Okay? Now, as to classification of animals based from dietary habits, so I guess you're very familiar with this. So you have herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. So herbivores are those organisms or those animals that feed on plants. Okay? And of course, you're familiar, you have cows, you have goats, you have other ungulates, and so on. And of course, carnivores are those which feed on animals. Okay? Yung mahilig kumain ng mga karne. Sino ba sa atin dyan ng mga carnivores? Okay? And then of course, when you say omnivores, so these are the organisms which feed on both plant and animal materials. We eat animal material. Okay, cats are omnivores. Okay? Dogs are omnivores. Walang laman yung PowerPoint or meron, I can't see anything, white background lang. Okay, wait. Ako rin. Teka lang. Type in our conversation panel. Okay. Baka mabagal lang kasi others can see. Kita ko po, ma'am. Ako po. Hindi po. Meron po. Kita ko na po. Okay. Baka mabagal lang. Ayan, ako meron po. Kita po. Okay. So anyway, for those who cannot see the presentation, so after our recording, you can always access. Makikita nyo naman yun. Naka-record naman tayo. Okay? So at least others, they can see the screen. Okay. So maybe let's continue. Okay. Okay. Now, as to the types of digestive systems and the patterns of digestion. So we have those animals or organisms exhibiting the incomplete type of digestive tube. So when you say incomplete type, okay, there is only one opening. Okay? In the case of this protozoa, so this is again a paramecium, okay, there is an oral groove, okay, to which food passes going to the cytostome. The cytostome is its mouth. Okay? So after passage of food, so the particles are now enclosed within the food vacuoles. Okay, and then they are digested inside. Hence, these organisms are capable of intracellular digestion. Okay? So we say it's an incomplete digestive tube because it only contains one opening, and that's the cytostome. Okay, and excretion is random. So the food vacuoles, they just fuse with the cell membrane in order to excrete the content or in order to excrete the waste products. Okay, so that's one type. Now another type is, again, an incomplete digestive tube, and these organisms are capable of combining extracellular and intracellular digestion. So this is very true for the cnidarians or the stinging animals. Like in this example, this is a hydra. Okay, this is a relative of the jellyfishes. Okay, so again, there is an incomplete digestive tube because of the presence of one opening. Okay, so this opening serves as the mouth and the anus at the same time. Okay, this serves as the entrance of food and exit of undigested particles. So can you imagine if humans have an incomplete type of digestive tube? So yung bibig natin, doon tayo kakain, doon din tayo pupupo. Parang kakaiba naman yata yun, ano? Okay. But again, no, there are animals exhibit system and pattern digestion. Now, in terms of pattern of digestion, so once food enters this is in your systematic zoology, this is called the gastrovascular cavity. Okay, so it's a big cavity. It houses the prey. Okay, in this case, you have here a water flea, Adapnia. Okay, so first, the cells would have to release their enzymes here. Okay, and the enzymes, of course, they now aid in digestion of food. And the undigested now are found those or are eaten by the cells and they are digested inside. So again, they are housed within the food vacuoles. So this is an example of an organism exhibiting a combination of extracellular and intracellular digestion. Okay, and of course, for higher animals, so we have the presence of a complete digestive tube. So again, when you say complete, okay, this time there are two openings. Okay, so one serving as the entrance, and of course that's the mouth, and one serving as the exit, and that's the anus. And of course, these animals are capable, no, including us humans, no, we are capable of extracellular digestion. Okay, so we actually release enzymes, no? Our glands, which will be discussed later, no? They are releasing enzymes that would aid in the digestion of food. Okay? And the presence of a complete digestive tube ensures there is a one-way flow of food. Okay, from the mouth going through the entirety of the gut. Okay, until the undigested particles are eliminated from the body of the individual. Okay? So that would be for the types of digestive system and the patterns of digestion. Now, Again, the focus of the digestive system is on the human digestive system. And if you can see, there are two divisions. So it says here, also calling this alimentary canal, not the elementary canal, that's alimentary canal, or we call this the GIT, okay, or the gastrointestinal tract, or in short, no, we call this the gut. Okay, so we have the digestive tube or the gut. So it starts from, of course, you have the mouth, okay, going to the pharynx, going to the esophagus, okay, to the stomach, and of course, you have the small intestine, you have the large intestine, until the anus. So that's the entirety of the gut, okay? So the gut or the alimentary canal houses food, okay, right after ingestion, during its travel or movement or propulsion, of course, during digestion, during absorption, and during excretion. Okay? So the food stays inside the gut or the food passes inside the gut. Now, the second division is the accessory division. The accessory division includes the lips, you have the teeth, okay, you have the tongue, and you have the different glands. Okay, in this case, you have the salivary glands, okay, you have the liver, you have the gallbladder, you have the pancreas, and other, because we have gastric glands and intestinal glands. Okay? So why are they called accessory? Pag sinabi na ay siya ay accessory sa crime, siya ba ang mismong gumawa ng crime? Hindi. Pero siya ay tumulong para magawa ang crime na yon, no? So when you say accessory structures, they don't directly participate in, and later to discuss, no, the functions and how do they help in how what are the reasons why are they called accessory structures or accessory organs. Okay, now let's begin with the digestive process. Okay, of course the digestive process begins with ingestion. Paano ka makakapagtunaw ng pagkain kung wala ka munang kinakain? Siyempre, kakain ka muna, di ba? So ingestion is followed by propulsion of food or travel of food along the gut. And of course, as food travels along the gut, there is, of course, digestion in different areas of the gut. Okay, of course, there is absorption and there is elimination or excretion, or in our term, in humans, now there is defecation. So it's the excretion of undigested particles. Okay, so that's our digestive process. And what we are going to do is we are going to discuss a digestive process as we go along the length of the gut. Okay, and also we are going to consider whether there would be the gut. Okay, for that, if we're actually having our uh, menu for the day. Kaya lang syempre, online tayo eh. So ako na lang nagawa ng ating menu, no? So halimbawa, mamayang hapon, syempre dinner. So ito yung mga kakainin natin mamayang hapon. Pare-pareho dapat ha. Joke lang, no? Of course, we have po. So halata mga carnivores tayo eh, no? Then a little bit of ice cream panahon, no? If given the inclusions of our menu for the day, we have to identify the macromolecules. Okay, the major macromolecules found in each of the, wala daw veggies. Hindi makapagluto ng veggies eh. Dalawa na yung ulam nyo, tama na yung dalawang ulam. Okay? Okay. So, up of, you have to take note na because we have to trace the digestion of these macromolecules along the gut. Okay? Of course, fried chicken. So, majority, you have proteins. And of course, fats. Okay? Grilled liempo, the same thing. Majority proteins, and then of course, you have fats. Ice cream, you have proteins, carbohydrates, and of course, you have tea, so carbohydrates din. So, medyo ma-carbs at saka ma-protein ang ating hapunan mamayang hapon. Okay? So, again, the purpose of including this is we have to trace, okay, the fate of these macromolecules as they travel along the gut. Okay? So, saan ba unang natutunaw ang carbohydrates? Saan ba unang natutunaw ang proteins? Kadulo. No? Okay. So, going forward, so first we have the oral cavity. Of course, we said that the first step of the digestive process is ingestion. Okay? So, you get a spoonful of rice. Okay, you get a piece of chicken, fried chicken. You get a piece of liempo. Okay, and then you ingest it. So, ingestion is the act of taking in food. Okay? And of course, that happens in the oral cavity. So first question, is there physical digestion in the oral cavity? Okay? Sino sasagot sa ating conversation? Syempre, mabagal tayo pag ganyan. Ay, unmute yan. Your, microphone. Okay. Talaga mag-recite no? Hi, Chris. Ikaw lang nakikita ko sa screen. Anyway, okay? So, going forward. So again, we have the oral cavity. Okay, so you have here a view of the oral cavity. Okay, and the first question was, is there physical or mechanical digestion of the oral cavity? Of course, the answer is okay, yes. Paki-mute. Ako lang magsasalita. Okay. No? And physical digestion, okay, is through chewing or mastication. Alam ko na, dito ko nila isusulat, no? So that's chewing. Kasi parang I cannot annotate the presentation. That's chewing or like yun naman, di ba? Okay. So that's chewing or mastication. That's yung pagmuya natin. And what can assess Paki-mute po ang inyong microphone. Please mute. Ayan na. Okay. Okay. So again, no? Okay. Kids daw. Ko talaga, Jerwin, ha? Anyway, no? Okay. So again, inside the oral cavity, so after ingestion, we have mastication. And mastication is a technical term for chewing of food. So what are the structures that participate in chewing or in mastication? Of course, you have the teeth. Okay? So the teeth are responsible for, depending on the type. So if you have the incisors, they are for cutting food. Okay, you have the canines. Okay, they are for tearing food. And of course, you have the molars, the premolars and the molars for the grinding of the food. Okay, and of course, mastication would not be possible if not for the work of the muscular tongue. What's the purpose of the tongue? Okay, so the tongue actually manipulates food. Okay, sabihin niya, oh, paring mga ngipin. Parang hindi pa yata masyadong nangunguya o napapalit ang pagkain. O ito, ibabalik ko sa'yo ulit. Okay? So the tongue, being very muscular, no, it's made up of skeletal muscle. You can consciously control its contraction. So the tongue actually manipulates food, no, and returns food going to the teeth so that the teeth can again tear them or cut them or grind them. Okay, so that's mastication. And of course, that's not the end of mastication, no? Okay, so we are going to add the secretions of our salivary glands. But before that, okay, what are the other information about the tongue? Of course, enhance our taste because of the presence of taste buds. Okay, it actually enhances the digestive process. So if you are going to look at the surface of the tongue, you would see that it's not very smooth. Okay, there are again conical projections or elevations. So you call them again the papillae. Okay, and if you're going to examine one papilla, okay, on either side of each papilla, you have the presence of the taste buds. Okay, and the taste buds, of course, are our receptors. Okay, and in terms of distribution of our taste buds, so the concentration of taste buds, okay, for sweet, okay, is located at the tip of the tongue. That's why, how do you eat a lollipop? Are you sticking the lollipop into your throat? Hindi, lollipop. It's because it's found at the tip of the tongue. Okay? Wala namang kumakain ng lollipop na talaga ipapasok mo sa loob ng lalamunan na, no? So, hindi. It's because, again, the taste buds for sweet are located at the tip of the tongue. Okay? And then sides, next to the tip are for the salty, no? And then next you have, again, the radial sides are for sour and the for bitter. Okay? When we take in medicine, diba ang pait? At ang pait, nararamdaman natin doon sa pinaka-dulo. It's because of the concentration of the taste buds for bitter. You might ask, what about umami? So there are no taste buds for umami, but actually umami is a result of a combination of the sensations of the taste buds. Okay? Okay. Okay. So other accessory structures in the oral cavity that participate in mastication and in the oral cavity are the salivary glands. Okay? And we have 3 pairs of salivary glands. Okay, so the first pair is comprises the parotid glands. So the parotid glands are found inferior and anterior to each ear. Okay, and this gland is the largest. And the mumps virus. So yung nagkabeke na nung maliit pa, 'di ba, namamaga yung ganito. So it's because of the target cells for the mumps virus are the cells of the in post-puberty males, no, it might, no, or it can cause sterility. So target cells for the mumps virus or the mixed virus. Okay? So yan, no? So another pair, you have the submandibular or the submaxillary gland. So they are below the mandibles or below the maxillae. And another pair is the sublingual gland. When you say lingua meaning tongue. So they are underneath the tongue. Okay? And of course, the salivary glands are considered accessory structures because they produce and secrete saliva. Okay? So what about some information on the saliva? Okay? Because when we masticate our food, okay, we don't only chew our food, but food we are mixing food with saliva. Okay? So before those reasons, so let's try to see some information. So we are actually producing and secreting about 1,000 to 1,000 ml of saliva per day. So imagine isa hanggat isa't kalahating litro ng laway, no, ang ating ginagawa araw-araw. And the saliva is made up of 99% water, okay, and 0.5% solute. Of course, water is again very important as chemicals in food. That's very important in enhancing the digestive process. Diba? Bakit ba kailangang, okay, ito. Halimbawa, when you eat pulburon, you all know pulburon, right? Okay. Kailan nalalasahan si pulburon? Pagkagat nyo bang ganyan, nalasahan na agad? Hindi, di ba? Pero kailan siya nalalasahan? Pag siya ay nabasa na ng laway, no? It's because water in saliva dissolves the chemicals in the food. And when these chemicals are dissolved, that's the time that they are now sensed by our taste buds or by our receptors. Okay? Kaya nga, ano ang mas madaling malasahan? Yung tuyo ba o yung may sabaw? Siyempre yung may sabaw. Okay? Another user to control. Someone else is not controlling the presentation. Sino yon? Anyway, na? Okay, so what about the 0.5%? So it's made up of solute. So you have ions. Okay, you have presence of sodium. You have presence of potassium, presence of chloride ions. And the chloride ions are very important in activating the salivary amylase, the enzyme. Okay? So under ions, we also have bicarbonate ions and phosphates. And they are responsible for buffering acidic foods. Okay, that's why the pH of our saliva is slightly, ano ba to? Slightly acidic, no? So from 6.35 to 6.85. Okay? What's the purpose of having this bicarbonate and this phosphates? Diba, halimbawa, the mere thought of chicharon and suka. So wala akong malasahan kung dry ang dila mo, ma'am. Yes, mahirap makalasa dyan kung dry ang dila, no? Of goong. O sige nga, anong nararamdaman nyo ngayon? Ano nangyayari sa inyo? Di ba? Naglalaway. You are already salivating. Okay? Ayan, naglalaway. No? Nagugutom na ako, then gutom na. No? So, naglalaway. Okay? Because the mere thought of food actually tells the mere thought of food. So, our brain tells our salivary glands to produce and secrete more saliva. Okay? Containing bicarbonate and phosphates. Because the brain is already anticipating that we are going to eat acidic foods which can damage our oral cavity. O, di ba ang galing? Iniisip pa lang natin, naglalaway na tayo. So, ibig sabihin, pinoprotektahan na agad ang ating bibig para hindi siya masira ng mga acidic foods. Okay? Kaya nga the mere thought, the mere sight, the mere smell, the mere sound of food makes our mouth water. Okay? Oo nga, kain na tayo. Nagugutom na. So anyway, no, going back. So it also contains urea are products of protein metabolism. Of course, it contains mucin, kaya may lagkit, diba? Sticky, slippery ang lawa. And what's the purpose of being sticky? What's the purpose of having mucin or mucus? So that's for easy passage of bolus. Okay, along the gut. Okay, para hindi bumabara-bara yung ating pagkain. Okay? In terms of ions, the saliva contains bicarbonate ions and phosphates, giving the slightly acidic pH of 6.35 to 6.85. And the purpose, again, of this bicarbonate go into the oral cavity. Okay? Again, okay. So another enzyme, lysozyme, is very important in killing bacteria inside our oral damage, infection, and also tooth decay. Pero of course, the lysozyme is present in very small amounts. So, hindi niya kaya lahat patayin ang mga bacteria sa inyong bibig. Kaya pag may time ay mag-toothbrush din. Okay? At syempre, mag-gargle kayo. Okay? Now, a very important component of the saliva is, of course, the presence of enzymes. So the next question is there chemical digestion? Yes. It's because of the presence of two enzymes. You have salivary amylase. Can you see that in the slide? Parang putol yata yung slide nito. Okay, so you have salivary amylase. I'll just type. Okay, you have the presence of salivary amylase and lingual. Pakita, no? So anyway, so there is chemical digestion in the oral cavity, and that's because of the works of two enzymes. Okay, so macromolecule that is being chemically digested. Of course, you have carbohydrates, no? So carbohydrates, no, or starches, because we are usually eating starches, they are converted into maltose. So trisaccharide, alpha dextrine. So they are very short polymers. So they are very short polysaccharides. Okay? So when we go back to the menu for the day, diba? So what are the inclusions are now initially ice, carbohydrates in ice cream, digested within the of the salivary place. Okay? So another enzyme is the lingual lipase. Okay? So when you say lingual lipase, of course, it comes from not the salivary glands, but from the kaya lingual lipase. It comes from the tongue. No? Kaya nga lengua. Okay? Digesting glycerides, okay, into fatty acids and monoglycerides. Are your fats, no? Are fatty acids and glycerols. Okay, so as early as the mouth, there is already again partial chemical digestion of carbohydrates because of salivary amylase and partial chemical digestion of fats because of the presence of lingual lipase. Okay, just to remember the cavity. Okay, so first phase of the digestive process is ingestion, and there is physical digestion through mastication, or that's chewing. And there is chemical digestion because of the presence of salivary amylase and lingual lipase. And after chewing food, okay, and mixing it with saliva, okay, we call that bowl of food as bolus. Okay? So, ang tawag na ngayon sa kanya ay bolus. And bolus now passes what part of the gut? So, the next segment of the gut is the pharynx. Okay? Can you still follow? Because I don't see myself in the camera. Okay. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay. Next, we have the pharynx. So, the pharynx is commonly called the throat, no? Lalamunan. Okay, and the pharynx is very significant, no, because it's the passageway for both, okay, food, okay, from the oral cavity going to the digestive tract, and air from the nasal cavity going to the respiratory system. Okay? Again, it's the passageway for both food and air. So it has three parts. It has the nasopharynx. So from the term, it's that part of the pharynx which is connected to the nasal cavity. You have the oropharynx connected to the oral cavity. And then you have the laryngopharynx connected to the larynx or the voice box. Okay? And technically, the pharynx is for the passage of bolus, no? And bolus should pass immediately because if not, we would not be able to breathe. Hindi tayo makakahinga, no? So the pharynx is very important is a very important area in our swallowing. For swallowing is, so you can say, oh honey, you deglutize naman your food, di ba? Ano ba naman yun? Talaga namang you deglutize your food. Parang lunukin mo yung iyong pagkain, no? So what happens during deglutition? Okay? So you have here a lateral view of the portion of the respiratory and the digestive system. So the blue line cavity represents the respiratory system. So you have the nasal cavity, and then you have here portion of the laryngopharynx, you have the larynx. You have the epiglottis, okay? And then you have, you have the glottis, okay? The opening of the larynx or the voice box. And then you have the epiglottis. So if you can still recall your discussion of the tissues, diba? The epiglottis is a type of elastic cartilage, okay? So the green line cavity represents the digestive system. So you have the oral cavity, again, you have the pharynx, and then you have the esophagus. So that's why in the pharynx area, you have a combination of blue and green lines, okay? In deglutition, okay, the uvula, this one, if you're familiar, you belong to the younger generation, eh. I'm not sure if when olive oil, papay! So, kita yung dangle niya sa throat. So, that's the uvula. Okay? So, that's the uvula. That's not the tonsil. So, if you're going to go back, wait, ha? Eto. So, this is the uvula. Okay? So, that's part of the soft palate, an extension of the soft palate. So, please, if you have misconceptions, so this is not part of the tonsil. These are the tonsils, the palatine tonsils. So they are the ones that are inflamed, okay, when we have toxins or when we have dangerous stuff in the food that we are eating and the air that we are breathing, okay? So we are talking of the uvula, okay? So again, during deglutition or swallowing, okay, the uvula raises and seals off the nasal cavity. And then the glottis, wait lang, ayan. And then we swallow. And bolus passes from the oral cavity, going to the pharynx, going to the next segment, which is the esophagus. Okay? So, yeah. So, which brings us to the next. You have the, okay. So, again, another view of how deglutition happens or how swallowing happens. No? So, the next segment is the esophagus. Okay, so it's a long muscular tube. And the esophagus is actually the passageway of bolus from the pharynx going to the next part, which is the stomach. Okay? So question, is there chemical digestion in the esophagus? Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, there is continued digestion of carbohydrates and lipids due to the actions of salivary amylase and lingual lipase. But take note, they came from the oral cavity. Okay? So the salivary amylase can actually act on carbohydrates for 15 to 30 minutes until bolus reaches the stomach and until salivary amylase is inactivated by the acidic pH of the stomach. So dire-diretso yun. Okay? So habang dumadaan ang pagkain doon, habang dumadaan si bolus doon, dire-diretso pa rin ang kanyang digestion. Okay? And the same is true for the lingual lipase. So there is still continued chemical digestion in the esophagus. Okay? What about physical digestion or mechanical digestion? Okay? So of course, no, there is mechanical digestion. Because as you can see, the wall of the esophagus is very muscular. Actually, from the mouth to the anus, no? the gut is very muscular, because if not, food particles will not be propelled or will not be transported from the beginning to the end. Okay? So, again, please take note of sphincters. If you can still recall our discussion on muscles, but we have sphincters, dilators, sphincters or constrictors. The esophagus. Upper esophageal sphincter, I'll type it. Upper esophageal sphincter. Okay, and another is the lower esophageal sphincter. Okay, so when the upper esophageal sphincter relaxes, okay, it allows passage of bolus from the pharynx going to the esophagus. Okay, and what happens? Okay, what happens to the wall of the esophagus? Food is present. So the walls, okay, they now contract. Okay, squeezing the content. Okay, so there is a wave-like movement, no, squeezing the content of the esophagus. Okay, and that contraction or that movement of the gut, particularly no, the movement of the esophagus, is known as peristalsis. I'll type that again, no, peristalsis. Okay, so actually peristalsis happens all throughout. So the ones, they represent smooth muscles contracting. Okay, so this now squeezes the content until bolus is squeezed going to the next part. Again, there is now movement, there is contraction until again bolus is squeezed to the next part of the gut. Okay, and when it reaches the lower part of the esophagus, the lower esophageal sphincter again relaxes, and bolus now enters the stomach. Okay, and that's the next part of the digestive system. Okay. Okay, so we go now to the points to remember about the pharynx and the esophagus. So the pharynx is also called the throat, and the pharynx is very important as the passageway for both food and air. Okay, there is physical digestion through peristalsis and can to enzymes, lingual lipase. And no, food is still known as bolus. Okay? Okay, so we go now to the stomach. Water break, wait lang. Okay. So the next section of the gut is the stomach. Okay, so the stomach is actually a J-shaped dilation of the gut. So they say when it's empty, it's like the shape and the size of a sausage. Okay, but it can, of course, temporarily store food, about 1 liter of food, okay, for about 3 to 4 hours. Kaya tayo, meron tayong schedule ng pagkain. Diba? Umaga, may breakfast. After 3 to 4 hours, gutom ulit. Lunch. After 3 to 4 hours, gutom na naman. Dinner. And in between, may mga snacks pa. Hanggang midnight snack. Paano ba namang hindi mananaba yung laging na yan? Diba? Anyway, no? So again, the stomach is organ. It temporarily store food, about 1 liter of food, 1 liter of bolus for 3 to 4 hours. Okay? It's again capable of physical and chemical digestion, and it is able to send chyme. No, the food is now called chyme. Okay, bit by bit to the small intestines. Okay? Now, what about the parts of the stomach? So in humans, in mammals, there are generally 4 parts. Okay? So the first part is the cardia, or in your laboratory, the cardiac end. Okay? Because of course, it's near the heart. And the cardiac end or the cardia is the one continuous with the esophagus. Okay? Now, the expanded part of the stomach, the expanded portion of the stomach, which is only found in mammals, now is called the fundus. it further increases the surface area of the stomach. Okay, and then we have the larger part is the body of the stomach. Now, in some animals, they don't have a fundus, so from cardia, the body follows already. Okay, and then the last part is the pylorus or the pyloric end. Okay, and again, take note, like the esophagus, the cardia, and the pylorus, no, they have their own sphincters or they have their own constrictors. You have the cardiac sphincter and the pyloric sphincter. So I guess in the laboratory, they would also be included. Okay, so yun, no? And in your laboratory, you would study the other parts like lesser curvature, greater omen. No, not the mesogaster, but that would be in your laboratory already. Okay. Now, uh, again, if you're going to examine the wall of the stomach, you would see that it's very, very muscular. Okay, you have layers and layers of muscles, and the muscles are very important in, of course, physical digestion. No, but prior to that, no, let's try to take chemical digestion. Okay, so there is chemical digestion of food in the stomach, and the question is, among the four macromolecules, no, what are digesting in the stomach? What are chemically, no, what are partially chemically digested in the stomach? Okay, now okay, if you're going to examine the stomach, if you're going to enlarge this part, okay, you would see that, okay, there are gastric glands. Okay, and the gastric glands are made up of a population of different cells. Okay, and they have their own functions. Okay, so after producing and secreting particular compositions or portions of the gastric juice, the fluid now is discharged via the gastric pit, going into the lumen. So the lumen, that's the cavity of the stomach. Okay? So more or less you can imagine, no? So you have here production, then you have secretion of gastric juice. So what are very important information about the gastric juice? So we are actually producing and secreting 2 to 3 liters per day. So ganun karami. Kaya nga napakahalaga na uminom tayo ng tubig, marami, araw-araw, no? Because water becomes part of our secretions, no? And secretions are very important in maintaining the survival of the individual. Okay? Now, what are the components of gastric juice? So first we have mucin. Okay, so mucin like in the oral cavity. Okay, so mucin is a very important component of mucus. So again, because of the presence of mucus, so bolus and chyme, they can easily pass through the entirety of the gut. Okay, so another is the presence of the intrinsic factor. So the intrinsic factor is secreted by the parietal cell. Okay? Parietal cell or the oxyntic cell. Okay, and the intrinsic factor is very important in the production of our red blood cells. Okay, in the synthesis of our DNA and in the proper working of our nervous system. Okay? Kaya nga pag medyo kulang sa vitamin B12, it may lead to anemia. Okay? So be sure to have vitamin B12 in your diet. And of course, it's very important in the synthesis of our DNA. Okay? Now, okay. In terms of pH, okay, the pH of gastric juice is very, very acidic. It's very acidic. It has a pH of 2. And that's because of hydrochloric acid being produced by the parietal or by the oxyntic cell. Okay? And you might ask, what's the purpose of hydrochloric acid? So one, hydrochloric acid, since it's very, very acidic, okay, it actually kills microbes in our stomach. Okay? Freeing our stomach of very detrimental or um, uh, very dangerous microbes now that might infect us. Okay, and aside from that, okay, you have the presence of, okay, we are going to go back to the importance of hydrochloric acid. Now, we said earlier that there is partial digestion of one, proteins, and second, lipids, okay, in the stomach. And that's because of the presence of the enzymes pepsin and gastric lipase, respectively. Okay, so from the term pepsin, so pepsin actually converts proteins into peptides. Okay? Okay? Peptides or dipeptides or smaller polypeptides. That's why we are saying there is only partial chemical digestion of proteins, okay, in the stomach because of the presence of pepsin. So going back to the menu for the day, so alin doon ang tinutunaw na sa tiyan? Yung proteins ng chicken at saka yung proteins ng liempo. Okay? At saka yung proteins ng ice cream. So tinutunaw na yan sa tiyan. At dahil yan sa pagkakaroon natin ng pepsin. Okay? Another is the presence of gastric lipase. So again, from the term lipase, it now converts or it now digests lipids. No? It digests triglycerides in butter fat in milk. Okay, so those triglycerides are again converted to fatty acids and monoglycerides. But gastric lipase has a limited function in adult stomach. Okay, because we are very dependent on lingual lipase and pancreatic lipase in the digestion of our fats. So gastric lipase is very important in the digestion of fats in the stomachs of babies. Okay? So yan, no? Now, you might say, Ma'am, the presence of pepsin, okay, enables proteins to be digested in the stomach. But the question is, isn't that our stomach is made up of these macromolecules and made up of proteins, if you can still recall ourselves? But why is it that our stomach itself is not digested by its own enzyme? Sige nga, sinong sasagot? Andyan sa picture. O tulog na kayo. Wala na yata ang kausap. Magparamdam ng kapiraso. Wala na, nagsilaya. Sana sila lahat. Anyway, no? Okay. So, the answer is, no, the answer to the question, why is it that the stomach itself is not digested by its own enzyme? There are two, present pa rin po, ma'am. Okay, very good, no? So there are two reasons, okay? So one, if you can see in this illustration, okay, where do you see pepsin? Okay, pepsin is the activated form of pepsinogen, and it's already found in the lumen of the stomach. Nando na sa labas, no? But being in its inactive form, being pepsinogen, okay? So pepsin is rather released as released in its inactive form. Okay, it's produced and secreted by the chief cell or the zymogenic cell. So pepsinogen is released in its inactive form. Okay, so as it is released, it cannot, not yet, no, it doesn't, it has no capacity to digest proteins yet because it's still inactive. Okay, so pepsinogen is secreted in its inactive form. It goes to the lumen of the stomach. And what activates pepsinogen to become pepsin? That's the presence of hydrochloric acid. And hydrochloric acid, I said earlier, is now produced and secreted by the parietal or the oxyntic cell. And they meet in the gut. They meet in the lumen. Doon na lang sa lumen, no? And the stomach, the lining of the stomach okay, is now covered with mga 1 to 3 millimeters of mucus. Okay? So the mucus, nawala yung signal. You sound like a robot. Sabi ni Amps, nawala raw yung signal. I sound like a robot going into a seashore. Sa iba ba? Okay pa sa iba? Okay. Oh, so, Amps, medyo siguro mahina ang signal mo. So anyway, no, you can actually review the video later. Again, we said that the proteins of the stomach, they are not digested by pepsinogen. One, it's because pepsinogen is secreted as an inactive, pepsinogen is secreted in its inactive form, and it's only in the lumen, no, that this is now activated by hydrochloric acid to become pepsin. Okay? And if pepsin or though pepsin is active already, the stomach itself, no, the mucosa itself is protected by 1 to 3 millimeters of mucus. So the mucus acts as a barrier. Okay? Eh ma'am, ano yung nangyayari dun sa mga nakaka-ulcer? Eh, paano ba naman? Ang hilig-hilig kumain ng acidic food. Ang hilig-hilig uminom ng soft drinks. At kung ano pang acidic drinks. Tapos hindi naman kumakain ng ayos. Okay? So what happens to the acidity of the stomach? If you're fond of eating acidic foods and if you're fond of drinking acidic drinks, of course, the pH further decreases. And there is now secretion of pepsinogen. And pepsinogen will be converted to more pepsin. And pepsin is an active enzyme. Diba? Eh kung wala siyang, kung ako ang pepsin, I have to perform my role. I have to digest proteins. Eh kung wala naman ako makitang proteins, sino ngayon na i-digest ko? Siyempre, I will now try to digest the lining of the stomach. And that's ulceration. Pag nagkakaroon ng sugat, nagkakaroon ng damage by early stage antacid. Pero sa mga sumusunod na pag-advanced stage na, mahirap ng gamutin. Okay? So, iwasan nyo na soft drinks, acidic, alcohol, ano pa ba, maaasim, pero wala pang ibang laman ng tiyan. So, you take care of your stomach. Okay? And of course, ulceration can be caused by bacteria. Meron din yun eh. Pero meron din cause ng increased acidity na because of intake of so much acidic foods and drinks. Okay? So, yun. Okay? So, again, you have the presence of a hormone, gastrin. Okay? So, gastrin, okay, being a hormone, is secreted by the enteroendocrine cells or the G cells. Okay? And gastrin is very important in telling the chief cell, okay, to produce more pepsinogen and the parietal cell to produce more hydrochloric acid. If you have a lot of protein in the diet. Okay? Sabihin, ang dami nating kliyente, ang dami nating proteins na dapat tunawin. So, kailangan maraming pepsin. Okay? And that's the work of the enteroendocrine cell. That's for the that's for the for chemical digestion of proteins in the stomach. So remember, the lingual lipase is still active, okay, in the environment of the stomach. So lingual lipase is continuously digesting fats, okay, kahit na nasa stomach na siya. So the action of lingual lipase actually produces 30% of our fats being digested. So that's from the oral cavity to the pharynx to the stomach. Okay? Okay. But the salivary amylase, no, it now stops working in the stomach. Because remember, salivary amylase is active in a basic pH because of the presence of the bicarbonates and the phosphates. And the environment in the stomach is already acidic. So this enzyme will not work anymore. Okay, that's one property of enzymes. They give their best, they perform at a particular optimum pH level. Okay, so yan. Okay, may phone in question. Ganon din po ba pag nagpapalipas ng gutom? Okay, pag lagi, no, lagi. Pero pag hindi naman laging gutom, okay lang. Pero wag lagi-lagi. Okay? And be careful of what you eat, no? Lalo ni mga maraming mga chemicals din, tapos yung pampataas ng acid, no? So iwasan niyo 'yon. Kaya nga sabi, you are what you eat, you take care of yourself. Okay? At alam niyo dapat 'yan kasi biology students kayo. Okay? Okay. So, moving forward, okay, so we are done with the chemical digestion in the stomach. What about physical digestion? Okay, so if you can still recall the slide earlier, we viewed that the stomach, so the stomach is very muscular. So again, no, from the esophagus, so when bolus enters the stomach, okay, there is now a vigorous mixing, okay? So the major physical digestion is through the churning action of the stomach, okay? So you have another term, churning. Churning. So yan, no? So ito, it shows you churning. So when bolus enters the stomach, okay, the walls of the stomach contract. Okay? And that's churning. Okay, vigorously mixing food. Okay, and that happens, remember, no, for 3 to 4 hours. Okay? So there is simultaneous physical digestion through churning and chemical digestion, again, through the action of pepsin and the salivary amylase. Okay? So there is partial chemical digestion of proteins, no, inside the stomach because of the presence of pepsin. Okay? So after physical digestion, after churning, after vigorous mixing or churning, bolus is now transformed to become a slurry, okay, milk-like and chyme. To chyme. Okay? So I'll type that again. So that's chyme. Okay. And chyme now, again, is sent bit by bit to the next portion of the gut, which is the small intestine. And that is because of the relaxation of the pyloric sphincter. Okay? So points to remember about the, hindi pa pala. Okay, so aside from digestion, the stomach is capable of limited absorption. Okay? It's capable of limited absorption. So when we say limited absorption, okay, this is the area where drugs, ions, and alcohols, okay, are absorbed. Okay? Kaya nga ang sabi nila, huwag mag-iinom ng gutom kasi mabilis malalasing. Bakit? Kasi walang laman ng tiyan, so mabilis makuha, mabilis ma-absorb ang alcohol. Okay? Dito rin daw na absorb ang ating mga gamot, no? Kaya nga, 'di ba, most of our medications should be taken with food. Others are taken without food. Okay? So depending on the directions of the doctor. So you should follow that. Okay? Because most of the medications can also increase acidity. Can also decrease acidity of our stomach. Okay? So we become more acidic. Okay? Si Paul po ganon siya. Okay? Anyway, now, and absorption is facilitated by an increase in the surface area, okay, brought about by the presence of folds. So technically, the folds are called rugae. Ito naman, no? So each fold is known as a ruga. So folds are rugae. So this is actually just a model of the intestine, the stomach, but it's very, very realistic. Now, it actually really shows the folding of the inner lining of our stomach. That's why there is also an increase in the surface area. Okay? Okay, so again, points to remember about the stomach. Okay, so there is physical digestion through churning. Okay, there is chemical digestion of enzymes. Okay, because there is partial chemical digestion of proteins because of the presence of pepsin. Okay, and as long as salivary amylase is not yet inactivated by the acidic environment of the stomach, it still works. Okay? And there is a limited function of the gastric lipase in adults. So it really functions in children, no? In which the major food is milk. Okay? And there is also continued action of the lingual lipase because it's also active in an acidic environment. Okay? Okay, so there is limited absorption of drugs, ions, and alcohols. And after mixing, after churning, after mixing bolus with gastric juice, it's now cold kind. Okay? So which brings us to the next segment of the gut, which is the small intestine. And of course, the associated accessory glands. Okay? So you have here the small intestine. Okay, so it's about 6 meters in length. Okay, but it's called small intestine because it has a smaller diameter compared to the large intestine. Okay, but of course, in terms of length, mahaba siya, no? So 6 meters because the large intestine is only about 1.5 meters. So some authors say that it should be called long intestine, no? Instead of calling it the small intestine. So anyway, okay. So it has 3 parts. So the first 25 centimeters, that's the duodenum. So the duodenum is that's the shortest part, no? But is the widest in terms of diameter, no? It's the widest compared to the other two. So the next section is the duodenum, and the last section is the jejunum, no? So duodenum, jejunum, and the last section is the ileum. So take note, the ileum is spelled with an E, single L, I-L-E-U-M. If it's spelled with an I, it's the ileum bone. So take note of that, okay? And the ileum is the one, of course, continuous to the large intestine, okay? Okay. Now, among the 3 segments of the small intestine, okay, they say that complete digestion takes place in the duodenum. Why do you think so? Okay, based from the figure. It's because, as you can see, okay, the secretions of the accessory glands, okay, they all empty into the duodenum, okay? So you have here, from the term right and left hepatic ducts, so it means you have here the liver, and then you have the gallbladder. Please take note, it's not pronounced as gallbladder, no? Wala namang ka-glamour-glamour. It's no? Gallbladder. Okay? Medyo maarte na naman ang konti, gallbladder. Okay? So you have again the liver, then you have the gallbladder. So the liver produces bile. So bile is concentrated within the gallbladder, and bile is now released to the duodenum, or is emptied into the duodenum. And another accessory structure or accessory gland is the pancreas. Now, it now produces and secretes pancreatic juice with enzymes. And again, the pancreatic juice empties into the duodenum. That's why they say that complete digestion takes place in the duodenum of the small intestines. Okay? Now, let's go to the liver. Okay? The liver is regarded as the second largest organ next to the skin. Okay? But this is the largest and heaviest gland of the body. Okay? So being heaviest it actually weighs 1.4 kilos. So kung kayo ay, ilang kilo ba kayo? Kung kayo ay 47 kilos minus 1.4, okay? So yung 1.4 pala, nanggagaling yun sa inyong atay. Okay? And of course, the liver is found at the right side of your abdomen, dito. No? So below the diaphragm, right side. Because left side, you have the stomach. Okay? And the liver, no? The liver is producing 800 to 1,000 ml of bile per day. Okay? And it has a pH of about 7.6 to 8.6. So slightly basic ang kanyang pH naman. Okay? Now, what is the importance of this liver? So, the liver is a very, very important gland for the survival of the individual. It's for detoxification. It balances the concentration of nutrients in the blood, if you can still recall. Okay. It's also very important in the degradation of our red blood cells. And in terms of digestive function, the liver is responsible for the production and secretion of bile. Okay? And what's the purpose of bile? So ito. So you have here a representation. No? So bile is not produced, okay, in the liver. So stated earlier, about 800 to 1,000 ml of bile is not produced per day. No? Ganon siya karami. Okay? So it's not produced by the liver. And when bile is not yet needed in the small intestine, it now goes to the gallbladder because the gallbladder now concentrates bile tenfold. Okay? Pinapatapang niya. Ano ba ang Tagalog o yung Filipino term para sa gallbladder? Sige nga, sino ang makakapagsabi? Ang Tagalog sa gallbladder? Wala, tulog sila ulit. Apdo. Tama, no? So, apdo. Ano ang lasa ng apdo? So, siya ay mapait. So, yun yung laman ng apdo, yung mag-green. So, actually, that's bile, no? And what's the purpose of bile? Why is it that our liver is producing lasang liver daw? Eh, galing nga siya sa production ng production siya ng liver, no? What's the purpose of bile? Bile that is produced, yeah, it's bitter, no? Bile is produced by the liver. When it's not yet used, it's now concentrated in the gallbladder. Then, when it's used, no, when it's supposed to be used, it will now be emptied into the duodenum. Because what's the purpose of bile? So, bile is very important in emulsification. Okay? And what is emulsification? Especially, no, among the components of the bile salts are very important because they are very important in emulsification. And what's emulsification? That's the conversion of large fat globules, okay, to become smaller fat droplets. Why is there a need to decrease the size of this fat globule to become fat droplets? Okay? So what do you think is the purpose? For these fat droplets to be easily digested or to be easily acted upon by enzymes, by lipases. Okay? So if we were lipases, no, it would be very hard for us to digest a very large fat globule because only these surfaces are exposed. No? Whereas if you're going to act on fat droplets, it would be easier for us to digest these fat droplets. Okay? So bile is very important in the digestion of fats. Okay? So if you can notice, no, from the mouth to the esophagus to the stomach, there is continuous digestion of fats. Kasi naman talaga tayo, mahilig tayong kumain ng mga matataba. No? Kaya nga ang sabi, pag natatanggalan na ng apdo, medyo kailangan na ingat-ingat sa pagkain ng matadabang pagkain. Okay? Apdo at saka yung portion ng atay. Kasi hindi na masyadong makakapag-produce o kaya hindi na masyado makakoncentrate yung bile kasi wala na si apdo. So, dahan-dahan sa pagkain na mga pagkain na matataba. Okay? Kasi people also tend to form gallstones, mga tinatanggal, because bile can also crystallize inside the gallbladder. Okay? So, you take care of your health. Okay? Okay. So, another view of emulsification. Okay. So we said also that bile is partially a secretory product, no, and an excretory product. So it's partially a secretion and an excretion. So being a secretion, again, is very important in the digestion of fats. And being an excretory product, so we said that, diba, one component of bile is bilirubin. And bilirubin is formed from the degradation of worn out red blood cells in the liver. So after degrading RBCs, you have the production of bilirubin. And bilirubin now is converted or digested or processed in the small intestine to become urobilinogen. And this urobilinogen is responsible for the yellow-brown color of our feces. And we said in the discussion of the integumentary system that when there is a liver disease or when there is something wrong with the liver, urobilinogen could be deposited in the mucosa, in the eyes, and in the skin. That's why it causes jaundice or yung yellowing of the mucous membrane in the skin. Okay? Yung bile salts, Ariel, it's one of the components of bile. Kasi marami siya, may mga ions, meron din siyang phosphates, na meron din silang mga excretory material. But among the components of bile salts are the one responsible for emulsification. Okay? Another component that I mentioned was bilirubin. Okay? It's now converted to urobilinogen in the small intestine. Okay? So, yun. So, that's importance, one of the importance again of our liver and our gallbladder, production and concentration of our bile for the emulsification of fats. Okay? Now, what about the pancreas? Because we're only done with the liver and the gallbladder. So, another very important accessory structure is the pancreas. Okay? And they say when a person dies of bangungot, so may pancreatic malfunction yun, no? Anyway, okay. So pancreas is considered as a dual organ. So when you say dual organ, it has two functions. Okay, it has both exocrine function, and that is because of the function of the acinar cells. They are responsible for the secretion of pancreatic juice containing pancreatic enzymes, and they are digestive. Okay. Another function, the second function is its endocrine function, brought about by the works of the endocrine cells, by the islets of Langerhans, because they are the ones producing hormones, especially for the regulation of our blood sugar. So if you're familiar with insulin, with glucagon, so they are now produced by the islets of Langerhans. Okay? That's why the pancreas is a very important organ. It has both digestive and endocrine function, okay? Especially in the regulation of our blood sugar. Okay? Now, in terms of its digestive function, eto na, okay? Eto na ulit, as promised. Okay, you have here again a list of enzymes. So first column, we have the enzymes. Enzymes contained in the pancreatic juice. Second column, these are the substrates acted upon by these enzymes. And third column, you have here the products. Okay, so take note. No? Again, you have to memorize them for the exam. Okay, you take note of the enzymes. So, for example, amylase breaks down polysaccharides into, I mentioned these three earlier. You have maltose is a disaccharide, maltotriose is a trisaccharide, and alpha-dextrins are short polymers. They are short polysaccharides, or they are short starches. Okay? So elastase acts on proteins to become peptides. Okay, again, lipase acts on fats to become fatty acids and monoglycerides rather. Nucleases, they act on our nucleic acids to become nucleotides. And then these three, again, they act on proteins to become peptides, amino acids. But how would you assess the products after the actions of the different enzymes. Are they their building blocks? Are all of these building blocks? Not yet, no? Only the fatty acids and monoglycerides and ito, yung amino acids. But the rest, they are not yet their building blocks. So it means digestion is not yet completed, no? Even after the actions of the pancreatic enzymes. So the question is, what set of enzymes now finalizes digestion? May kulang pa. So that's the enzymes contained in the intestinal juice. Diba? Meron kayong bile, meron kayong gastric juice, may pancreatic juice, o yung mismong juice ng intestine, wala pa. So that's the intestinal juice. Okay? And of course, those enzymes are produced by the intestine itself. Okay? So if you're going to examine the wall of the small intestine, you have folds. Okay? If you're going to examine one fold, there are smaller folds. Okay, you call them the villi. Now, if you're going to get one fold and further magnify it, ito yon. And these are the villi. Okay? And still, if you get one villus and magnify it, this is one villus. So if you can recall your histology in your laboratory, okay, you have here a portion, the lining of the small intestine, and it's made up of simple columnar epithelium, if you can still recall. Okay? So if you get one cell, one columnar cell, okay, as you can see, there is a modification, or there are modifications of the cell membrane. Okay, there are extensions. If you can recall our discussion on the cell membrane pathway, no? So you have presence of smaller folds called microvilli. Okay, so from a fold, okay, you get one villus. Okay, if you have one villus, again magnify. You have a lot of cells, you get one cell. So that's one columnar cell. And one columnar cell is again having this microvilli. And under the electron microscope, ganda, di ba? Okay? Under the electron microscope, the microvilli, they look like bristles of a brush. Okay? That's why the enzymes being produced by the cells, okay, and they are secreted via the brush, no, by the brush border. So we are calling them the brush border enzymes. Okay? So that's the reason for the term, or for the phrase brush border enzymes. No? And these are the brush border enzymes. Ano ba yan, ma'am? Ang dami na naman. No? So again, you have here the enzymes. Again, the substrates, okay, acted upon by the enzymes and their products. Again, you have to study them for the exam. Okay? So, looking at the products, you have glucose, and fructose. So, these are all monosaccharides. Okay, you have peptides, you have amino acids. Amino acids are building blocks of proteins. And then the nucleotides are further digested to become bases, remember? ACTG, pentoses, no? Ribose and deoxyribose, and the phosphatases. So as you can see, these are already the simplest forms. Majority are already simplest forms of the macromolecule. So there is now digestion. There is now chemical digestion. And this building blocks, no, the simplest forms can now be absorbed by the body cells and utilized by the body cells. Okay? So that's the work of the brush border enzymes. Okay. So that would be for the chemical digestion. What about physical digestion in the small intestine? Okay. So the main mechanism of physical digestion is rhythmic segmentation. So it shows you rhythmic segmentation. It says here, no, it's Rhythmic segmentation is described as localized contractions, okay, in the duodenum, in areas of the duodenum containing food. So when chyme from the stomach enters the duodenum, there is already again the mixing action. Okay, and that's rhythmic segmentation. And based from the description, it says here, segmentation is characterized by vigorous contractions. Okay, so there are 80 to 20 vigorous contractions per minute in the duodenum. And that's enough to really mix, okay, to really mix the enzymes and the chyme. Okay, and for the particles or for the nutrients to come in contact with the absorptive wall. Okay? And it can, I think chyme can also stay within the intestine for 3 to 4 hours. Okay? So that time is enough, no, for the nutrients to be absorbed by the small intestine. Okay? So the vigorous actions, they happen in the duodenum. So the next segment of the small intestine is again the jejunum and the ileum. So along the jejunum and the ileum, you have propulsive peristalsis. So chyme moves now from the duodenum to the jejunum to the ileum. So the particles, the nutrients, they come in contact with the absorptive wall and they are now absorbed. Okay? Okay. So another function of the intestine aside from digestion is absorption. Absorption of nutrients and water. Okay. So those nutrients coming from carbohydrate and protein metabolism, they are now absorbed by the lymphatic capillary, okay, in the villi. So the villi are also very vascular. Okay. But remember the fatty acids and the monoglycerides. So they first enter the cells. Remember the columnar cells. And they are now converted to lipoproteins. Remember your good and bad cholesterol. No? So they are converted to lipoproteins and they are now emptied. No? Oh, they now go to the lacteal, the green one. A lacteal is a lymphatic capillary. So fats, no, they are now being transported by the lymphatic system. And nutrients coming from the carbohydrate and protein metabolism, no, they are now being circulated by the circulatory system, by our blood vessels. Okay. Another very important function of the small intestine is absorption of water. So they say about 10 liters of water enter our gut per day. Okay. And the small intestine is capable of recovering or reabsorbing 95% of that water. So mga 9.5 liters. Okay, 9.5 liters, they are now returned to the circulation or they are now reabsorbed. So the remainder, no, and we call it the chyme. So chyme now enters the next part of the gut, which is the large intestine. So malapit na tayo matapos. Okay? So again, points to remember about the small intestine. So there is complete chemical digestion because of bile, because of the works of the pancreatic enzymes, and because of the works of the brush border enzymes. It's actually the brush border enzymes, no, that complete digestion of the macromolecules to become their building blocks, again, for them to be absorbed and utilized by the body cells. Okay? So physical digestion is through rhythmic segmentation and propulsive peristalsis. And there is increased absorption because of villi and microvilli. And food is still called the chyme. So from mouth, okay, it's bolus. Okay, from mouth to pharynx to esophagus, it's bolus. And then after being churned in the stomach, food is now called chyme. Until the small intestine, it's called chyme. Until the large intestine, it's called chyme. Okay? Okay. So last segment, we have the large intestine. Okay? So again, no, the junction between the ileum and the large intestine is provided with a sphincter. It's called the ileocecal sphincter. I'll type it again. No? Ileocecal Ileocecal sphincter. Yeah. So when the ileocecal sphincter relaxes, again, chyme goes to the large intestine. Okay? And that's the last portion of the gut, the large intestine. Okay, malapit na tayo matapos, no? So what are the major parts of the large intestine? So first, you have the cecum. Okay, this bulging area here. And then we have the colon. Okay? So the colon is divided into the ascending colon, ascending pataas, and it's found at the right side of the body, ascending. And then you have transverse colon. It goes across the body. And then you have the descending colon, descending pababa, left side. And then you have the sigmoid colon. Sigmoid meaning curved or S-shaped. Okay? That's why we also call the large intestine as the colon. Okay? Because the majority is made up of the colon. But still, no, meron siyang cecum, meron siyang rectum, no? So after the sigmoid colon, you have the rectum, and then the opening is the anus. Okay? Now, question, is there physical digestion and chemical digestion in the large intestine? Okay? But before that, no, another very students are very inquisitive about is the presence of the appendix. Okay, the appendix is said to be a rudimentary structure. It has no known digestive function, but when we go to the lecture on the lymphatic system, you would see that it has a protective function because it's made up of lymphatic tissues. They are responsible for fighting bacteria and other invading organisms. So that's why if a person experiences appendicitis or inflammation of the appendix, now it's better for that person to have an appendectomy, okay, rather than the inflamed appendix waiting to be ruptured, okay, or ruptured, because it will further create problems, no? Because it can cause peritonitis or inflammation of the abdominal area, okay, the peritoneal lining, okay. So the appendix is not, it's part of the digestive system, being attached to, it's being part of the being part of the large intestine, but it has no digestive function. Okay, it has a protective function because later in the discussion, you would see that we have a lot of bacteria in the large intestine. Okay, and in order for those bacteria to be prevented from entering the small intestine, so merong guardia. Ang guardia yung appendix natin. Okay, so that's the purpose. May studies daw po ba, ma'am, na ang appendix stores probiotics? I'm not very familiar with this. Siguro what I can do is I can research later, no? And then I can share the results to you. But I'm not very familiar. Okay. Okay. So going back, no, is there physical digestion in the large intestine? Meron pa rin, no? As long as we have the portion of the gut which is very, in which the wall is very vascular, no? So physical digestion is through two processes. You have haustral churning and mass peristalsis. So what is haustral churning? You know churning. Churning is mixing, no? Now what are haustra? So ito. So each pouch-like structure here is called a haustrum. So this is one haustrum, another haustrum, another haustrum. Okay? So from remember, you have here the junction between the ileum, diba, and the cecum. So when chyme enters the cecum, if you can still recall, ito, no? So when chyme enters the cecum, again, the walls of the cecum contract, squeezing the content until the content is now transferred to the next haustrum. Okay, to the next and to the next. So that's called haustral churning. Okay? So pag lumilipat yung chyme, magko-contract yung wall, itatransfer nila sa susunod na haustrum hanggang makarating sa iba't ibang haustra. Okay? So that's haustral churning. And another is mass peristalsis. So you say mass peristalsis, there is movement in bulk. And this is usually experienced immediately after meal or minutes after meal. No? Sometimes you feel you have to go, you have to defecate right after a meal. Parang alam niyo humihilab. Yung sumasakit ang tiyan, na parang kailangan yung mag-poop, pero that's not it. No? You are not going to poop yet, not yet. That's mass peristalsis. Okay? So it's characterized by mass movement of chyme, okay, from the cecum going to the transverse column. But that's it. No? You don't need to poop, not yet. So that's mass peristalsis. No? So that's why another function of the large intestine is, of course, reabsorption of water. Okay? And when we defecate, and when a person is really dehydrated or constipated, you can actually see the shape of your poop. No, assuming the shapes of the hostra. Di ba may parang mga ganon-ganon. O yan, it's because of the hostra. Okay? So, another question, is there chemical digestion in the large intestine? So the answer is none, wala na. No? There is no chemical digestion. Okay, chemical means there is no enzymes. There are no enzymes. Okay, but still there is digestion. And digestion is the work of course, we have our resident bacteria. Okay, especially we have our Escherichia coli. And Escherichia coli is beneficial. Okay, so one benefit. So E. coli produces vitamin K, and vitamin K is very important in blood clotting. Para sinulat ko na, no, nang makita nyo na lahat. And bacteria are responsible for further digestion of our food in the large intestine. Okay? Because the bacteria are capable of fermenting food. Okay? So when they ferment carbohydrates, they produce gases. They produce carbon dioxide, they produce methane, they produce hydrogen. Okay? That's why they say, naku, kumain na naman siya ng kamote o ng maraming patatas. For sure, uutot na naman yan ng uutot. No? And that's true. Because fermentation of carbohydrates, again, produces gas. But those gases are not foul-smelling. So safe pa yun. No? But when proteins are fermented, okay, so that's the time that the foul-smelling gases are produced, like your indole, your scatol, okay, your hydrogen sulfide, meron din. So they are responsible for imparting the odor to the fart. Okay? Sabi, merong flatulence. Okay, I'll type that, no? So flatulence. Okay, flatulence, nag-uutot. Okay? So, pag sinabi, nako, patay tayo. Kumain niya ng maraming kamote, tapos kumain pa siya ng maraming itlog. No? Utot na ng utot, ang baho pa ng utot. Pero sabi nga nila, the more silent the fart is, the more wicked it is. Diba? Tahimik ang utot, tapos mamaya aamoy na lang, sobrang baho. No? It's because majority of the diet is made up of proteins. Okay? So yun, no? Now, after all the processes, of course, there are still particles that are left undigested. And they now form the feces. Okay? So the feces is not really dry. Diba? Sino ba nag-poop na dyan ng dry ang feces? Wala, diba? No? So it's made up of 75% water and 25% solid matter. And 1/3 of that solid matter are actually the bacteria, or our intestinal bacteria. No? Other components are, of course, undigested food, not only plant. You have fats. Again, you have waste products. Remember, the urobilinogen. Inorganic material. Of course, you have mucus and dead cells from the intestinal lining. Okay? And if there is something not so quite good about the function of the large intestine, okay, this can cause loose bowel movement. No? So it means there is something wrong with the large intestine. It cannot really reabsorb that much water. So medyo fluid ang poop. No? And if the person is not fond of really drinking a lot of fluids, so he or she may be constipated naman. So you have to you have to really hydrate yourself every day. Okay? So, yun. And then, ano pa bang meron dito? Okay, so points to remember about the large intestine. So, I would like to correct this. No, again, digestion. There is still digestion, but not chemical. No, and digestion is again because of the fermentation works of the bacteria, especially E. coli. And physical digestion is through hostile churning and mass peristalsis. There is reabsorption of water. And to finalize, you have here a table. Okay, it shows you, okay, the secretions and their enzymes. It's actually a summary, no? And then you have, again, the substrates and the products. Again, you have to study them for your examinations. Okay? Opo, kakabisaduhin po lahat yan, no? Teka lang pala, before we end the lecture, I forgot to ask you earlier, when we were discussing about the stomach, is there a way for your stomach to tell you that you are hungry and you need to eat? Sige nga. Ano ba? Nagsasabi ba siya na, gutom na tayo, kailangan na natin kumain? Okay, nag-rumble, no? So there is the growling of the stomach. And technically, okay, growling is known as, ayan, it's called borborygmus. So gutom na, naku, gutom na ako, nagbo-borborygmus na yung stomach ko. Ayan, tumutunog. Para hindi nakakaya sa katabi nyo na, let's eat, I'm experiencing borborygmi. O, diba? So technical terms ulit. Okay? What about the technical term for burping? Meron din yon. So technical term for burping is eructation. Okay? Is eructation. Oh, please cover you eructate. O, diba? Ang atin, no? So, yan. Kasi sa digestive system, maraming mga terms eh. Okay? What about, you did not ask me, what about heartburn? What happens during heartburn? So, if you can recall our slide earlier, wait lang ha. The junction between the esophagus and the stomach. Ay, wala. Anyway, wala. Remember your, ayan, bakit nagkakaroon ng acid reflux na? Okay. So, sometimes, ayan, bumalik na. Ay, mabagal ulit. Okay. So, sometimes, remember the lower esophageal sphincter and the cardiac sphincter. Okay? When the stomach is upset or when you are too acidic or when you eat a lot. Okay? Ito na. Wala pa ulit. Mabagal. So, the cardiac sphincter, yun na. Ayan. Okay. So, failure of the cardiac sphincter or the lower esophageal sphincter, okay, to constrict enables chyme, okay, from the stomach, okay, to go back to the esophagus. And since chyme is acidic, remember, it's strongly acidic, diba? Because of gastric juice. And since chyme is acidic, it now causes a burning sensation, okay? And that burning sensation is felt very near the heart. That's why it's called heartburn. Okay? Yun naman yun, no? Yun namang isa, ma'am, paano naman yung nabibilaukan, yung hindi makahinga, no? That's, again, no, failure of our lower esophageal sphincter to relax. And bolus actually lodges inside the esophagus. Okay, this now impedes the flow of bolus, no, from the esophagus going to the stomach. and it causes chest pain, okay? And it can be mistaken as pain radiating from the heart, but actually it's just chest pain, okay? Yung sinusuka, ma'am, kaim na ba pa yun o bolus? Kaim na yon. Okay, kasi galing na yon sa stomach. At saka, kaya malalasan nyo medyo maasim-asim na. No? It's because kaim na siya. Kasi kung bolus pa lang, andito pa lang yan. Okay? Or depende rin sa location. Pero usually, ano na yon, kaim na yon. Kasi pag nag-contract ang stomach, squeeze na yun eh, tapos lalabas yung kaim na sa bibig. Okay? So baka ito. So that finalizes the discussion. Okay, it's now time for you to ask questions if you have questions.